So the next thing that we will talk about is lists. So lists are used to store multiple items in a single variable, and lists are also built-in data types for Python. Alright, so to create a list, you can, so let's say my list. So we create a variable my list, which is equal to, and lists are putting into square brackets like this, and list is kind of storing multiple items. So assuming that we want to store different cars in a list, so let's say we can use double quotes. Let's say Toyota, comma, let's say Benz, comma, let's say BMW. All right, so by this we've assigned these multiple car types to my list variable. So now that we've stored these car types into the variable list, how do we access items in a list? So to basically to access items in a list, we use the index, or we use the indexing method, just like in any other programming language. So when you create a list like this, the first item is indexed as 0, and the second one is 1, then the third one is 2. So to access the items in the list, I can use print into brackets, then I call the variable name, which is my list. Then into brackets, what I'll do is I'll just call the index of what I want to call by using a square bracket. So assuming I want to call index 2, so let's see what the output will be. Okay, so right, we got an error. Let's see why we got an error here. Zero, 1, 2. Print my list. Okay, my list is not defined. All right. So why we got the error is that I'm supposed to run this here, because now, no, I think I didn't run this. So let me run this first. Okay, so now our list is defined, even though I created it, but I didn't run it for it to be defined. Okay, so now we can safely call the index or the car type BMW using index 2. So let's see what index 1 will give us. And it's good that you get errors in your code and you're able to troubleshoot them. So anytime you create a variable, you need to run it for it to be stored in the Python memory, so that when you want to output it, you can get it. Initially I created a list, but I didn't define it, or I didn't run it for it to be saved. That's why I got that error. So basically this is how you can output lists. Okay, so let me call index 0. Right, so index 0 is Toyota. Now let's see how we can change items in the list above. So to change items in the list above, all that you need to do is we have a method or a function that we can use. So to do that, I will need to call my list again. Then I'll call the index of what I want to change. So let's say I want to change index number 2. And what do I want to assign to index number 2? Let's say I want to assign it Bentley. Okay. So now I've declared what I want to assign to index number 2, which is BMW. So I want to replace BMW with Bentley. So now that I've assigned it, I need to print it for it to take effect. So print into brackets. So now I want to print all the lists because I want to see the changes. So you see now the initial list, which was which had BMW, is now replaced with Bentley. So this is how you can change an item in a list. So if I want to change item 1, I can just use the 0 index, and this will change item 1 to Bentley. Okay, let me change it to, let's say, I want to change it to Nissan. Okay, all right, so now we have index 0 and index 2 changed to Nissan and Bentley respectively. So append is used to add an item to the existing list. So append is a method in Python that can be used to add to a list. Okay, so to add to our list, all that we need to do is to use the append method. So my list dot append. Okay, so this is the append method. Then since it is a method, we have to provide a parameter in the brackets. So what do we want to add to the list? So let's say we want to add Lexus to it. Okay, so now let's print our list and see whether we're able to add to it. Okay, so now you see that we have Lexus in the list. Okay, so if you create a list and you want to add to the list, you can use the append method in Python. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is to remove an item from the list, and to do that we can use the remove method to do that. Okay, so I'll just call my list again, my list dot remove. So this time around we are calling the remove method. Then what do we want to remove? Let's say I want to remove Nissan from the list. So now I'll just copy this and print. Okay, so let's see. You see that Nissan is removed from the list. So currently this is what we have in our list. Okay, so the next thing that I want us to talk about is the sort method. So by default, by default, when you create a list, you can use is sorted in the ascending order, but you can use the sort method to change the arrangement. So my list dot sort. So this will sort the list in ascending order. Okay, so let me just print the list again and let's see the arrangement. Okay, so as I said, by default when you create a list, it is sorted in an ascending manner. So now we want to sort it in the other way around. So how do we do that? we can, or we want to sort it in a descending order. So how do we do that? All that we need to do is we can pass, let me copy this, then all that we can do is we can just pass this into the function or the method sort. So true. So my list dot sort reverse is equal to true. This means that we want to reverse the sort order from ascending to descending. So now when I print the list, you see that the first one will give us the default arrangement, which is the ascending order, and the second result will give us a descending kind of arrangement. All right. So the last thing that we'll talk about in lists is joining lists. So I'll go back to, okay, we already have a list, which is this. So this is our current list. So I'll create another list. So I'll call it second list. So in my second list, I'll just create, let's say, blue, comma, black, comma, let's say gray. All right, so let me print this list, print into brackets list. Okay, so now we have this list, but our task is to join the two lists. So we want to join the second list to my list, and the easiest way to do that is to use the plus operator. So to join the list, I will just use the plus operator to do that. Okay, so I will call this all list, which is equal to my list plus second list. Then I will just print into brackets all list. So basically this will combine all the first and the second list together. So this is what we have. So basically this is the easiest way to combine lists.